Welcome, Aquarius, to your Gemini season 1 month forecast for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon across the 20th, 21st of May, depending on location. The sun returns to the quick-witted sign of Gemini after an 11-month absence. We can talk about that from a general viewpoint, but what about from a purely Aquarius perspective? On the screen is your event chart, the exact moment that Sun arrives. All the other planets forge their own influence, all of it a backdrop for the next 4 weeks. I'm going to unpack that for you, but also share two upcoming and influential aspects too. By the end of the video, you'll have a clearer understanding of the opportunities around work, energy, relationships, and finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. Thank you for joining me. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. But please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. Just like you, Gemini is an air sign, so that's very much about communication, but also thinking. It's the third of the 12 zodiac signs, but it's mutable, so it's very flexible. So we often see a kind of speeding up when the sun is in Gemini. But Gemini energy is also very much about the message, because the ruler, Mercury, in mythology is the winged messenger, the intermediary. So that goes between the gods in the sky and us mortals on planet Earth. But Mercury happens to be in occupation as the sun arrives, but also your modern ruler of Uranus. And that hasn't happened since 1948. So we've got a real rarity to this new ingress. But the sun in Gemini can certainly sparkle when it comes to sharing ideas in an effervescent way. And it's a nimble energy, and it can be a little mischievous too. Certainly has a great appetite for information, but that can also be an opportunity to just have sparkling conversations. It can be about showcasing our ideas, and particularly on this Gemini season in an extremely animated way, because having Uranus receiving the sun just creates an extra electric energy. But for you, the gathering in Gemini is in the fifth house, which kind of has a Leonian feel. It certainly brings an opportunity to bring more warmth, more confidence, and more passion to your ideas. And Uranus is also encouraging you to have the confidence to step outside your comfort zone, because the archetypes for Aquarius are often based on Uranus, but actually Aquarius people have a duality. The traditional ruler of this sign, Saturn, likes tradition and likes continuity, fixed sign. It's Uranus that's more progressive, more the rebel. But now you can be a rebel with a cause, because it's encouraging you to just be truly authentically yourself, particularly when it comes to showcasing your individuality and your innate charisma. So that can be burnished in a really hot and very vibrant way over the next 4 weeks. It's truly exciting. It truly, truly is. But of course, the sign of Gemini can be a little bit gossipy, and Mercury can be a bit mischievous. But I feel for you, because Mercury links back to Pluto in your sign, which is very much about personal transformation in a beautiful trine, which means that your powers of perception and the way you can analyze things really ace it. But if you are wanting to demonstrate that talent and flair, the energy of Pluto is the anchor for that. So there's real power and conviction behind it. But also Mercury is linking back to the steady eddy of the zodiac, your traditional ruler Saturn in your sector of ideas, ironically rather Gemini-like. So if there is something quite brilliant you want to share with people, not only will it be potentially inventive, witty, ahead of the game, you'll also likely have it all structured in a way which makes your ideas very compelling and very difficult for other people to resist. So do expect the world to start being more attuned to that more progressive Aquarius energy. And of course, it's partly because Uranus has moved into Gemini for the next 7 years. But if we widen the lens, what else is going on? Well, we do have a collective in the sign of Cancer, which is nurturing, of course, but for you, it's the sixth house, which can be about practicalities, but also work and health. Now, Venus and Jupiter come together in a conjunction on the 9th of June. It's two planets of fortune. If you're looking for a job, that's a good portent. But also, the moon in that sign is in a lovely conjunction with Jupiter early on. You could use your progressive ideas to help other people, which would be lovely. But the moon is conflicted by Mars. So there could be a few ragged moments if your quite electric ideas are not being received quite as quickly as you would like. It could create frustration because Mars is in the fourth house, and that can see your emotions being a bit reactive and a bit prickly. But it does forge a lovely link to Venus. So if you are wanting to demonstrate something, just make sure that you feel comfortable with who you're talking to. And I think the delivery of the message, even though this can dazzle, you can still use all this nurturing energy in a way to shape the idea and the way you present it so people can digest it. They can see the functionality in it, but warm to you because you're presenting it in a very Cancerian way. And this is why it's so important to look at event charts and not just focus on the sun being in Gemini and everything's going to be amazing. You're going to meet the love of your life. It just doesn't work like that. So that's a nuance that does need to be taken care of. Also, Chiron's in a square with the moon. If there's part of you that does actually feel a bit inhibited about stepping into the limelight, that could show up. And with Saturn in that third house, maybe even feel a bit tongue-tied. Undoubtedly, for all of us, there are certain things we feel comfortable with that another Aquarius person would feel a lack of comfort. We're all different. But what I would say is focus on the things you're good at, but also do step forwards into the sunlight around those good things. You don't need to extend or expose yourself too much. But the link between the Sun and Neptune after about 4 days is really lovely if you are a creative, and you can really have a wonderful ability to use your imagination and that innovation in such a constructive way. However, the Sun does move forwards by the 26th and comes into a T-square with the nodal axis. The fifth house can be about speculation and risk. And obviously, Uranus can be a bit of a daredevil because it's always trying to push boundaries. If you do go for something, an investment or an idea, before you've really done the research, which Mercury and Saturn can help you with, but if you rush, it could be counterintuitive, the North Node in Pisces, as far as your everyday resources are concerned. So, bit of a juggle there. And as ever with astrology, it's never all the influences going in one direction all at one time. It just doesn't work like that. So I'm going to summarize those 4 areas of vitality, work, relationships, and finances next. But first, I'd like to tell you about my personal horoscope reports. I've slashed the price. It's 3 for the price of 1. The one you pay for is your life roadmap report, which helps us to understand the patterns that play out in our lives, get a more intimate understanding of that energy and how to work with it better future forwards. The free chart, the 12 months transit, and your draconic analysis. Now, if your North Node in your nativity is late in Pisces and early in Aries, you won't see such a difference. But if it isn't, your draconic chart can be radically different, and it can help us to see ourselves and also understand our soul purpose in quite a profound way. Please see below for more. Now, if you've yet to watch your Uranus 78-year solar return Kazemi video. Please check that out on the screen. Your Mars in Taurus 6-week forecast video on the screen. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, please check out my testimonials below. And if you've yet to take advantage of my free daily written horoscope fired to your device each morning for your early day celestial pit stop, you can sign up for that below. So in terms of energy, I think you're going to have a lot of energy. The key, I guess, is to try to ground it because of the air energy. But what can help that, I think, is Mars in the fourth house. So that means just stepping back at times and just thinking, what's at the root of my being? I've got all this brilliance going on, but how does it feel? Now, that link between Mars and Venus is also lovely too. So if you do meet up with people that, you feel very comfortable around, that can be a good antidote to some of the excitement that's going to be mounting for you. When it comes to your work situation, if you do work for yourself and you're a creative, this is the most brilliant set of influences ever, probably, for Aquarius people. It's that profound. And I feel that's because when Uranus moves through Aquarius itself, it's very much about the beginning of the story. The fifth house is more the crystallization of the talent. So it really is fantastic. Do seize the moment. And with Venus and Jupiter coming into a conjunction on the 9th of June, that can be very good if you're job hunting. As far as finances are concerned, the second house energy of the North Node, there is just that little bit of a warning not to be too impetuous if you go for something that is really cutting edge, but do it too quick. So don't rush if you're thinking about something more speculative or brand new or anything around technology, of course. And then when it comes to romance, well, that's intriguing because Pluto in your sign is in a quincunx with Venus, and it's in a broad square with Mars. If you're in a current relationship and you're wanting to do something that's, much more social, perhaps you're wanting to reassert your individuality and independence, there could be some tension through the last 10 days of May, to be honest. But it just depends on your unique circumstances. I think if you're single, if you do push yourself out and mix and mingle, go to gigs, go to see shows, comedy clubs, frequent your local whatever, because your charisma is burning brightly. It will show up. Thank you so much for joining me. All the best, and look forward to seeing you again soon.